Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and wondered quietly, why do I feel like I've given so much, but still feel so lost? You're not broken. You're just waking up. And sometimes awakening begins with pain. As men, we're taught to grind, to endure, to stay silent. But what we're not taught is how to protect our peace, how to stop chasing what drains us, and how to build a life rooted in quiet strength. That's why I made this video. Not to preach, not to impress, but to share 9 raw, powerful lessons that most men only learn when it's already too late. But you're here, and that means there's still time. To choose clarity over chaos, to choose purpose over pain, to stop surviving and start becoming. So before we dive in, let me gently say this. If this is your first time here, welcome. You've found a place for honest conversations. If something resonates, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with a brother who needs this. We're building a quiet community of men who are ready to rise together. Now, let's begin. 1. Not everyone deserves access to you. Have you ever felt completely drained after being around certain people? Like somehow you gave everything and got nothing in return? Yeah, I've been there too. See, it took me years to understand this. Not everyone who shows up in your life is meant to stay. Some people don't come to build with you. They come to take your time, your energy, your loyalty. And when there's nothing left, they vanish like you were just a free trial. At first I thought I was being noble. I told myself I'm just being kind. I held the door open for everyone, friends, co-workers, even the wrong women, thinking that being available made me strong. But here's the truth I had to swallow. When you make yourself too accessible, people start treating you like you're disposable. You don't need to be cruel. You don't need to yell. But you do need boundaries. You need to say no without guilt. You need to walk away from people who confuse love with convenience. And you need to stop explaining yourself to those who never cared to understand you in the first place. Because the truth is, you're not a rescue boat. You're not here to save everyone who's drowning in their own mess. You're a lighthouse. You stand tall. You shine. You guide. But you don't chase. And that, my friend, is not selfish. That's self-respect. And it's sacred. So if your peace has been feeling heavy lately, if your soul is tired and your mind's been spinning, maybe it's time to ask, who have I given access to that never earned it? The sooner you learn to protect your energy, the sooner you'll stop drowning in other people's chaos. And finally, you'll start living on your own terms. You're not for everyone, and that's a good thing. 2. Peace is more valuable than attention. Let me tell you something I wish I had understood when I was younger. There was a time in my life when I thought attention was everything. The looks, the compliments, the feeling of being wanted, it felt like fuel. When someone noticed me, it lit something up inside. And when no one did, I felt invisible, empty. I thought, maybe if I dress better, maybe if I'm funnier, louder, more impressive, then I'll finally feel enough. But the truth is, attention is cheap. It comes quick, and it disappears even faster. It took me years, decades, really, to realize what actually matters. Peace, not the kind that shows up when everything is perfect. I'm talking about the kind that stays with you, even when nothing is. Peace is waking up without anxiety tightening your chest. Peace is going to bed without rehearsing arguments in your mind. Peace is not needing someone to text back just to feel okay with yourself. And the crazy thing, most of us don't even know what peace feels like because we've been chasing noise for so long. But here's what I've learned. The man who learns to live in stillness, who doesn't need the room's approval, that man becomes powerful in a way others can't understand. So no, I don't chase attention anymore, because applause fades. But peace stays. And if you ask me today what I value most, it's not being seen, it's being centered. And that's something no one can give you. You have to build it from the inside. If you're tired of noise, maybe it's time to choose peace. 3. You are not entitled to anything. You know, there was a time in my life when I couldn't help but feel bitter. I'd think to myself, I'm doing the right things, I'm showing up, I'm loyal, I work hard, so why am I still being overlooked? It felt unfair, and for a while that word unfair became the lens I saw the world through. But one day it hit me. Life doesn't owe me a damn thing. Not love, not recognition, not comfort, nothing. You can be the most decent man in the room and still get passed over. You can give your heart and still be left behind. And the truth is, that's not a flaw in the system. That is the system. Now I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. It's also liberating. Because once you let go of the idea that you deserve something just because you tried hard or meant well, you finally take your power back. You stop waiting. You stop whining. You stop thinking the world will eventually circle back and reward your good behavior. And instead, you build, you create, you move forward without needing applause. And that is when you become truly dangerous. Not in a harmful way, but in a focused, grounded, unstoppable kind of way. See, Stoicism teaches us not to tie our peace to outcomes, because outcomes are never promised, but action. That's yours, always. So if life hasn't turned out fair, good. It means you don't have to wait around anymore. You owe it to yourself to rise, not because the world owes you, but because you've decided that no matter what, you will rise anyway. 4. Your voice is a boundary, use it. Let me tell you about one of the most dangerous habits I used to carry: swallowing my words. I'd stay quiet, not because I didn't care, but because I did. I didn't want to upset anyone, didn't want to rock the boat, didn't want to be that guy who made things uncomfortable. So I kept it in. I smiled when something bothered me. I nodded along when I should have spoken up. I pretended like it didn't matter, when deep down it did. And for a while that silence felt like strength. But over time, it became poison. Because here's the truth. Every time you silence your truth to avoid conflict, you betray yourself. And that betrayal, it doesn't disappear. It builds. It hardens into resentment. And eventually, it spills out either in anger or in withdrawal. Now, Stoicism isn't about bottling things up. That's a misunderstanding. Stoicism is about mastery, not suppression. It's about having the courage to say what needs to be said without rage and without fear. Sometimes all it takes is a calm, steady voice saying, "I don't accept this." Not shouting, not attacking, just a firm line drawn in the sand. That one sentence. It can save you years of bitterness. It can protect your peace. It can help the right people understand you and help the wrong people leave. Your voice is not just for communication. It's for boundaries. It's how you teach people how to treat you. So don't wait until you explode. Don't wait until you collapse. If something feels off, say it. If a line is crossed, name it. Because your truth is not a weapon. It's a filter. And the ones who truly belong in your life will honor it. 5. Stop chasing toward becoming. You know what I see far too often? Men chasing women, chasing attention, chasing validation from people who don't even know who they are, or worse, don't care. And I get it. I've been there too. There's a kind of thrill in it. The pursuit, the hope, the little hits of approval that make you feel like you matter. But let me be real with you. A man who spends his whole life chasing rarely ends up with anything worth keeping. You chase, and maybe for a moment you catch something. A feeling, a compliment, a quick connection. But then it's gone, and you're right back where you started, maybe even emptier. Here's the shift that changed everything for me. Stop chasing. Start becoming. Build something. Build yourself. Build your discipline, your values, your peace. Because when your life is rooted in purpose, when you have direction vision and a deep sense of who you are, love doesn't have to be hunted. It finds you. And more importantly, it stays. Not because you begged, not because you proved your worth, but because you became a man who doesn't need to be chosen, a man who already chose himself. You see, real strength isn't loud. It doesn't flash. It doesn't chase. It becomes. And when you become a man of substance, everything you once ran after, respect, love, peace, it starts running toward you. So ask yourself, am I chasing, or am I becoming only one of those leads to freedom? 6. Choose purpose over pain. I've watched it happen more times than I can count. Good men, strong men, stuck in loops of silent suffering, repeating the same mistakes, staying in relationships that drain them, escaping through the same distractions, drinking too much, scrolling too long, chasing the next hit of comfort. Not because they're weak, but because they're lost. And in that fog, pain becomes the default setting. But here's the truth. Pain isn't the enemy. Purposelessness is. Pain is a part of life. It's built into the contract. You don't get to opt out of it no matter how fast you run, how much you distract yourself, or how hard you pretend you're fine. You can't outrun pain. But you can do something far better. You can put it to work. See, when you choose purpose over pain, something profound happens. The suffering doesn't stop, but it starts to mean something. It becomes fuel. It becomes direction. It becomes your teacher, not your jailer. That heartbreak. It teaches you to love with boundaries. That failure, it sharpens your focus. That loss, it deepens your gratitude. But none of that happens if you're just numbing it away. If you're stuck in survival mode, avoiding the discomfort, the hard truths, the mirror. Purpose gives pain a job. Without it, pain just breaks you. With it, pain builds you. So if you're hurting, don't just reach for another escape. Reach for something higher. Something that pulls you forward, not just pulls you under. Choose the path with meaning, not the path that feels easy, because easy is temporary. But purpose is eternal. 7. The woman you want is a mirror. Let's talk about her. The woman you think about. The one you want so badly it aches a little. Maybe she's someone real. Maybe she's just an idea. But either way, you've convinced yourself that once she's yours, everything will finally feel right. I know that story. I've lived it. And I'll tell you the truth, that took me years to learn. The woman you want, she's not your savior. She's your mirror. She doesn't complete you. She reflects you. If you're full of purpose, peace, and clarity, you'll attract a woman who brings the same energy. But if you're running on emptiness, insecurity, and silent desperation, you'll draw chaos over and over again. Most men don't see this. They make her the prize. They wrap their entire sense of worth around whether she says yes, whether she texts back, whether she stays. But here's the truth. You're not here to be picked. You're here to become. Don't build your confidence on her reaction. Build it on your values, your consistency, your character when no one's watching. Because when you no longer need to be chosen when you've already chosen yourself, you start to attract a different kind of woman. Not one who plays games, not one who tests your worth, but one who recognizes it because you've already made it undeniable. And here's the best part. When love comes to a man who's already whole, he doesn't cling to it. He doesn't chase. He doesn't shrink. He receives it with calm strength and gives it back with clarity. So stop asking, does she want me? And start asking, am I someone I would want to come home to? Because when you become that man, you stop chasing mirrors and you start attracting women who reflect back the life you've already built. 8. No one is coming to save you. There's a moment in every man's life when he looks around and finally sees it. No one is coming. Not the woman you hoped would love you into wholeness. Not the mentor you thought would hand you a roadmap. Not even the therapist, the book, or the best advice in the world. They can help. They can guide. They can walk beside you for a while. But the truth is, no one can walk your path for you. No one can wake up and face your reflection. No one can fight your demons. No one can climb that hill you've been avoiding. Only you. And when that truth sinks in, I mean really sinks in, you might feel a wave of fear, or sadness, or anger. But stay with it, because just beneath that fear is your freedom. You see, this isn't a punishment. It's not life being cruel. It's an invitation, an initiation, to stop waiting, to stop blaming, to stop hoping someone else will fix what only you can face. You are the problem, and you are also the solution. And that's not a burden. That's power. Because if it's on you, then that means you have the power to change it. You don't have to wait for someone to rescue you. You don't have to earn anyone's permission to rise. You can begin right now with the smallest step. One new habit, one honest conversation, one promise you keep to yourself. That's how it starts. No one is coming, but you are already here, and that's more than enough. 9. Protect your energy like your life depends on it. Let me ask you something. How many hours, how many days have you spent trying to explain yourself to people who never really listened? How much of your energy has been poured into arguments that went nowhere, into chasing approval that never came, into holding space for people who drained you but never once poured back in? Brother, let me say this clearly. Your energy is your most sacred currency, and every time you spend it on someone who doesn't respect your value, you're not just wasting time, you're giving away your future. You see, the world will try to convince you that being a good man means being endlessly available, always reachable, always agreeable. But that's a lie, a dangerous one. Your mind is not a public park. It's a temple. Not everyone should have access to it. Not everyone should get a seat at your table. And not every voice deserves your response. Because here's the truth. You only have so much to give. And if you're constantly consumed by chaos that isn't yours, you'll never have the space to become the man you were truly meant to be. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from learning to say no, from walking away without explanation, from guarding your peace like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your focus, your clarity, your purpose, they all flow from the same well. And if you let that well run dry, chasing people who never respected you in the first place, you lose more than energy. You lose yourself. So protect your energy, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because when your energy is preserved, your power is multiplied. And that's how a man builds a life he doesn't need to escape from. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for listening. These 9 truths aren't meant to entertain. They're meant to challenge you, to wake something up in you, to invite you into a different way of living, one that's quieter, deeper, and more rooted in strength. This isn't the kind of strength that shouts or performs. It's the strength of a man who knows who he is and doesn't need the world to validate it. That kind of man. He's rare, but he's not born, he's built. One decision at a time, one boundary at a time, one hard truth at a time. And if you're still here, you've already started. So don't let it end here. Hit that subscribe button, because this corner of the internet is for men like you. Men who are done pretending. Men who are ready to rise. Like the video if something in it spoke to you. Share it with a brother who might need to hear it. And drop a comment below. Tell me what hit the hardest, and let's keep this conversation going in the next episode. We're just getting started. You're not alone, and you're not finished. I'll see you in the next one.